1 minute. We're still having we're having difficulty getting the live stream started this morning. 1 minute, please.
Certainly.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We are now live streaming and a quorum is present.
Thank you, sir. I just want to welcome everyone to council meeting for February 24th. As we say, due to efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19 and to protect all individuals, city facilities will not be open to the public to attend council and committee meetings until further notice. And with that, I would like to call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for the national anthem? Thank you. Thank you very much. We now have public forum. I believe we have one person registered, Ms. Davidson. Ms. Davidson, wish to come forward. You have 5 minutes. Ms. Davidson, I see your, oh, there you go.
There you go. Okay, you can hear me. You can hear me and see me.
Yes, we can. No, we can't see you, but we can hear you.
You can't see me.
There you are.
Okay. Thank you. Members of council, the CBC show Fifth Estate aired a show last week that detailed the tragic murder of Richmond Hill teenager David Roman.
Yes.
While David was in the care.
Point of order. Excuse us, please, Ms. Davidson. Deputy Mayor, sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, if I understand where this speaker is going, it would appear, given the context that it is started with, that this has nothing to do with the city of Richmond Hill. And I would ask that you decide on that.
I would say, yeah, this is a point of order. It's an exact point of order. Quite frankly, I think, Ms. Davidson, you should be referred to the Integrity Commissioner for the conversation you wish to have. And that's our success. And quite frankly, your speaking time is ended at this point. Okay, we will now move on to council announcements. Councilor West. Hey, don't forget, we got a little late. There we go. Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did want to make 2 announcements this morning. I did want to congratulate the organizers and the participants for this past weekend's coldest night of the year walk. They raised a phenomenal $158,000. Their goal actually was only $80,000. So they've done a spectacular job. I mean, I would add during the COVID pandemic, where the walk is usually something that is done together as a community. People were doing this individually and in small groups. And as myself and my wife were walking around doing our walk, we did notice a couple of other coldest night of the year toques walking around the community. So congratulations to everybody that was involved in that. I did learn actually that over $9 million was raised nationwide. In our community alone, there were 612 walkers and 101 teams. So it really truly was a community effort. All the funds in this particular case go to Mosaic Interfaith Out of the Cold, and they're now partnered with Blue Door. And those two community groups have been doing great work in our community, helping to end homelessness and supporting those that are homeless. And the funds, I'm quite certain, will go to very good use given the extra pressures that are in going on in terms of homelessness in our community in the last little while since the pandemic. So congratulations to them. I'd also like to say today is Pink Shirt Day, and I'm sorry that only 50% of my shirt is pink, but I've been told by my fashion coordinator / wife that it is actually pink, and I want to let you know that I very much support that group and the work that they do. Over the years, it's been interesting that the whole concept of bullying has really come to light. And come to people's understanding of the damage that it does both to individuals and to us collectively as a society. So congratulations also to the folks that are organizing the Pink Shirt activities across the nation today. It's very important that we act as community leaders and make sure that we're calling it out whenever we can. And again, I'd like to congratulate that group for doing great work in our community. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No, thank you. It's been very interesting to see that thing come together with a number of organizations. I have another request for Deputy Mayor DiPaolo and Councilor Munch. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilor West stole my thunder a little bit. The exact same thing. I wanted to acknowledge Wednesday, February 24th is Pink Shirt Day in Canada. And it's so important that victims of bullying know that they're not alone in our schools, in our community and workplaces, right at City Hall, throughout our local government. I want everyone in our organization to know that they never have to tolerate bullying of any kind, and that if they do experience it or know of a colleague that experiences any problems with intimidation, that they are to approach the mayor's office or the CAO's office. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Munch, and then Deputy Mayor Crowley.
Good day, everybody. I agree. I'd like to thank everybody for recognizing the Pink Shirt Day and all spirit that it goes. Last Thursday, we had an open house for our official plan going forward. I think our staff deserve a great shout out on a really good job. Specifically, I'd like to give a great mention to Patrick Lee for really doing a tone and educating, and I got nothing but great feedback. I'd like to thank the councillors that were present, Councillor Silovitz, Councillor Chan, myself, Councillor West, and the mayor for doing it forward. But it was really great, and I want to give a shout out, and I hope everybody stays on top of it and it stays the course. So we all really do need some input, and we have to work together to build a better municipality. So say thanks for that. That's it. Thank you.
Nope, thank you. Also, Deputy Mayor DiPaolo. Yes, sorry. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Admittedly, I was going to wear my pink shirt this morning. It looked very similar to Councillor Liu's, but I've gained a little bit of weight during the pandemic and it just didn't fit, Mr. Mayor. So I didn't wear it, but my heart is where it needs to be when it comes to, speaking up against bullying, any violence of any kind. Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to take this opportunity to wish Deputy Mayor DePaula a belated happy birthday. I think he turned, I won't, out him out. I think he turned 50. Is that correct, Deputy Mayor DePaula?
I've been 50 for 2 days, yeah.
2 days.
Rookie!
For 2 days, and he's a proud grandfather, and we just wanted to wish him a very happy birthday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice. Any other announcements at this time? Seeing none, introduction of emergency time-sensitive matters. I would ask that Deputy Mayor DePaula take the chair so I can add a time-sensitive member motion myself.
Okay, certainly, Mr. Mayor. I'll assume the chair and you have the floor.
What am I doing here? Okay, time-sensitive motion, a medical leave of absence for myself. And I would ask that if there's a seconder, or I should ask the chair whether you could get a seconder for that time-sensitive motion to be dealt with.
Okay,
Please.
so you're introducing a time-sensitive motion. You just want it added to the agenda. Is there a seconder to this? Seconded by Deputy Borelli.
Yes, really?
So
Okay,
that's on the floor. There's nothing to debate or discuss here. We're gonna put it to a vote. All those in favor of having a time-sensitive matter added by the mayor? I see 8 cards and mine is 9. That's unanimous. Okay. So that will be added to the agenda. And at this time, I'll pass the chair back to the mayor.
okay. Are there any others, time sensitive at this time? Seeing none, to the mayor's member motion. Okay, for we now have, sorry. Okay, hang on, sorry. Adoption of the agenda, how would that be? Geez, I got the paper upside down. Can I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda that we have before us, please? Councilor Barros, Councilor Borelli, once again, all those in favor, opposed, carried, thank you. Declarations of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Any member of council? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, seeing none. Adoption of council minutes. I ask someone to move on the adoption of council minutes 7-1. And the other items, there's actually 4 of them here. C 0421, 0521, and 0621. I have a mover and a seconder for those two. Councilor Liu, Councilor Barros. Any comments? All those in favor? Seeing none, all opposed, thank you. Now, is there anything, items of interest requiring separate discussion? Are there any items members wish to? Am I seeing anybody that wishes to bring anything forward? Sorry, Councilor Munch, sorry.
Can I please bring item number 9?
Number 9?
Yeah, that is the, give me the staff report, what number? So we're on the same page. Give me a sec, I'll take a look.
13.9.
Okay,
SRPL 21.023, the
Okay.
request for expanded permissions.
okay. So that's your number 9, you mean?
Yeah, our item number 9 on
Yeah.
our agenda that I have.
Okay,
The residential suites, staff report 21.023, please.
okay. All right, any others? Members of council wish to bring forward? Is there a seconder for this motion, this request motion? Yes. Deputy Mayor Pirelli. Please show your voting cards. I have a note here. So all those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Moves on. Okay. I would like at this time, if I may, that I want to bring forward my time-sensitive members' motion for discussion, if
Please.
I may.
Yes.
I would ask that Deputy Paula, Mayor Paula, take the chair so I can move my motion. You'll be able to see it before we go any further. At this point, sorry, we need a seconder.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
why don't you go ahead and then I'll call for a seconder. Why don't you introduce your motion?
Okay, yeah, so can I ask, I'm sorry.
Well, is there someone at this point that is willing to second for the mayor?
Yep, I have
Yes.
Deputy Mayor
Yep.
Pirelli.
Councilor Barros.
Okay, Councilor Barros, fair enough.
Okay, so we have a seconder. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, and I would ask at this point in time, if the clerk could read my motion. He always enjoys those.
Thank you. Through the chair, the motion reads as follows. Whereas Mayor Dave Barrow, who is head of council under the provisions of the Municipal Act 2001, is required to be absent from his duties and meetings of council for a presently undetermined amount of time for medical reasons. Whereas section 259(1)(c) of the Municipal Act 2001 provides that a seat of a member of council becomes vacant if that person is absent from meetings of council for 3 consecutive months without being authorized to do so by a resolution of council. Whereas under section 4.2 of the city's procedure bylaw number 7412 as amended, council appoints 2 deputy mayors to exercise all the mayor's rights and duties as set out in the procedure bylaw or applicable law when the mayor is not available. And whereas it would be beneficial to ensure continuity in the office of the mayor during Mayor Barrow's medical leave of absence. Whereas section 226 of the Municipal Act 2001 provides that a municipality may, with the consent of the head of council, appoint a member of council to act in place of the head of council on any body other than on the council of another municipality of which the head of council is a member by virtue of being head of council. Whereas subsection 267(1) of the Municipal Act 2001 provides that if a person who is a member of both a local and upper tier council is unable to act as a member of those councils for a period exceeding 1 month, the local council may appoint one of its members as an alternate member of the upper tier council to act in place of the member until the member is able to resume acting as a member of both councils. The council authorized Mayor Dave Barrow to be absent from meetings of council and from his other rights and duties as head of council as set out in the Municipal Act 2001, the procedure bylaw or applicable law, effective the date on which he notifies the city clerk. B, that as a result of council's authorization of Mayor Barrow's absence and for greater certainty, Mayor Barrow's seat on Richmond Hill Council shall not become vacant under section 259 of the Municipal Act 2001 if he is absent from meetings of council for more than 3 consecutive months. C, that notwithstanding anything in section 4.2 of the procedure bylaw to the contrary, Regional and Local Councillor Joe DePaula shall be acting mayor for the entire duration of the mayor's absence or inability to perform the duties of head of council and may exercise all the mayor's rights and duties as set out in the Municipal Act 2001, the procedure bylaw or applicable law. D, that in the event that Regional and Local Councillor DePaula is absent or unable to fulfill the duties of the acting mayor for a period of time, Regional and Local Councillor Carmine Pirelli shall be acting mayor during any such period of time and may exercise all the mayor's rights and duties as set out in the procedure bylaw or applicable law. That pursuant to section 266 of the Municipal Act 2001 and with the consent of Mayor Barrow, Regional and Local Councillor DePaula be authorized to act in place of Mayor Barrow on any body other than on the council of another municipality of which the mayor is a member by virtue of being head of Richmond Hill Council during the mayor's absence. F, that the city clerk be directed to forward a copy of this resolution to the regional clerk to request that regional council authorize Mayor Barrow to be absent from meetings of that council and from his other rights and duties as a member of regional council without his seat on regional council becoming vacant under section 259 of the Municipal Act 2001. And G, that council appoints Ward 6 Councillor Godwin Chan as an alternate member of regional council pursuant to subsection 2681 of the Municipal Act 2001 to act in place of Mayor Barrow until he is able to resume his duties as a member of both Richmond Hill and regional councils.
That is it?
Yes, and I'll share that on the screen.
Okay, and we do have a seconder, right, Deputy Mayor?
Councillor Barrows, are you still willing to second having
Okay.
that read out?
No, I was seconding the fact that we would be able to hear what was going to be put on the floor.
That's what I thought. So I'll call now for someone who's willing to second the motion as it's displayed on the screen.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay, thank you. Councillor West?
I'm not seeing a hands up, sorry.
Yeah, Councillor West had a hand up.
Okay, very good. Seconded by
That I
Councillor.
could see.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor, introduce your motion.
Thank you. I brought this motion forward because my doctors have recommended that I take some time off to deal with a medical issue. Because medical issues are a private matter, I'm not going to be talking about or taking any questions or answer anything on any specifics at this point in time. I don't know how long I'll be away from the city at this time. So I wanted to make sure that everything is in place, and in case I am away for a few months even. The motion formally grants the leave of absence to me in case I have to miss more than 3 months of meetings. This is required by the Municipal Act. Also formally appointing Deputy Mayor DePaula as acting mayor during my absence, because I also sit at the region of York, as you know. The motion recommends that a regional council approve a leave of absence for myself, which is once again required in the Municipal Act. The Municipal Act allows council to appoint another member of council to represent Richmond Hill when a current member will be away for more than 1 month. I am recommending Councillor Godwin Chan to be appointed as the alternate, the regional councillor, while I'm not on leave. So that is my statement. Joe, bring it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the discussion on the mayor's motion. I'm seeing a number of speakers. Councillor West, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think probably like a lot of people, I'm in shock, Mayor Barrow, and I won't, clearly out of respect, I won't be asking any questions whatsoever other than to wish you the very, very best in whatever road you have ahead of you. I think that I appreciate the opportunity at this time to be able to proactively look at making sure that we can continue our duties and responsibilities that we're elected to do. And I would hope that we would be able to pass this unanimously and wish you all the best in the interim. And I truly mean that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor West. Deputy Mayor Pirelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I, again, it's, yes, this is shocking news. Mr. Mayor, we all wish you well. Speedy recovery, whatever it is. I do have a question regarding the actual motion. Is there, the clerk went through it very quickly. Are we granting the authorization to be away from council for a specific amount of time or an indefinite amount of time?
I believe it's definite at this point in time. The clerk, that's my understanding. Mr. Clerk, could you respond?
Yes, through Mr. Mayor, this is an indefinite leave of absence at this time. As the mayor indicated, he doesn't know how long he's going to be away. And so the way the Municipal Act is structured, it doesn't talk about defining periods of time other than greater 3 months. So this would provide the ability for him to miss up to more than 3 months, whether it's 4 or 5 or 6, depending on medical advice, without us having to revisit the granting of the leave of absence under Section 259.
Well, thank you for the explanation. I'll reserve my right to speak on a second round. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other members of council want to speak or have questions about procedure here? Councillor Munch?
Good day. I wish you well, sir. It's news to me. Thank you for bringing it forward. It's very hard, so I'm as well going to reserve my conversation at this point to the to why we're here today. So I do wish you well. I wish we were knowing more, so we could effectively go forward as to what the nature, what the background is. So I won't go there. I'll respect your position of privacy, and I thank you for bringing it forward. But as myself representing the people in Richmond Hill have known you for a very, very long time, we wish you all the best of health and take all the time you need. And, you know, from that aspect, I'm more than happy to support you. But we'll talk about the motion, you know, some of the specifics thereafter, and I reserve my right for the second round as well. So I wish you all the best and thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Munch.
Thank you. And I'll also echo the comments of councillors. This is a surprise to us all, and we all have nothing but concern for you and a speedy recovery and a quick return to this council, Mr. Mayor. Is there anyone that does want to speak again, or anyone on a second round? Procedural questions? I see none, so I'm going to put this. Councillor Barrows.
Mr. Mayor, I guess I'm just a bit in shock, and I'm feeling horrible for you and your family at this point, and I wish you the best of success, and know that our thoughts and prayers are with you with whatever you're going to be going through. It must be a difficult time for you, a difficult decision. I know your love for the city, I know your dedication to the job is paramount. The length of time that you've been serving, this must not have come as an easy decision for you. It must have been gut-wrenching. So I wish you a speedy recovery, sir. We want to see you back in that chair quickly, as soon as your doctors allow you to. I'll also reserve myself for a second round.
Thank you. Great, Councillor.
Okay. Councillor Chan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have to overcome with emotions because that I have known our mayor as the speaker before me, have been actually serving for this great city of Richmond Hill. If I'm not mistaken, back, really almost back in this late 70s of last century. So I'm shocked to hear that I have to leave for medical reasons. And I just want to say it has been truly an honor. I'm humbled by your, including myself in your motion. But the most important part is wish you the very best and the speedy recovery, and look forward to seeing you back to resuming the positions that you love, to be our mayor for the since 2006. and the city, if I may say so, native son of Richmond Hill since you were born here, and your family's roots in the city, and from my family and I, and if I can say on behalf of resident Ward 6, my sincere best wishes to you and all the best, and look forward to your returning to your position here in Richmond Hill and the York Regional Council. Take very good care of yourself, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for me to share my thoughts.
Thank you,
And
Godwin.
thank you, Mr. Mayor, for his
Thank you.
service.
Thank you, Councillor Chan. Councillor Liu.
Well, I too would like to wish Mayor Barrow all the best. Just want to let him know that we are all with you in this speedy recovery. I look forward to seeing you back very, very soon. Take care.
Thank you, Castro.
Thank you. Councillor Silovitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On behalf of the residents of Ward 5, Mr. Mayor, I want to wish you a recovery to whatever it is that you're facing, and only good health now and into the future. Godspeed.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Silovitz. Okay, back to Deputy Mayor Pirelli on the second round.
Thank you. Again, this comes as a shock, Mr. Mayor. Still in shock. It's sad news. I just want to say, Mr. Mayor, that your chair will stay vacant forever until you decide, sir, that you're ready to come back. That's my commitment to you. You've served this city well for many, many years. And I know you will always keep the best interests of the city in your heart. And that chair will stay vacant until you, sir, decide. And I hope that you're back very, very soon in good health, in great health, so that we can continue the good work that you've led throughout your entire career. And we want you to continue in that capacity. So you have my 100% support, Mr. Mayor. And whatever I can do, not only as a member of council, but on a personal level, we're all here. I think I speak for all of us. We're all here, Mr. Mayor, to help you in any way, both professionally and personally, because you are a great man and you deserve all this respect. And we're just here for you, Mr. Mayor. You have my personal number. I'm available anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't see any other speakers. I too, Mr. Mayor, want to congratulate you. 15 years you have led this corporation of Richmond Hill. You've done a fabulous job as mayor. Your tenure goes back, as was said, to the late 70s. And there's no one else in this city now that I'm aware of that's had more service to this council. You've done an admirable job. You've led the way and you've shown the way for myself and so many others. I appreciate everything you've done, and I too hope that you can come back to continue very quickly.
Thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate that.
Okay, so I'm going to call the vote on the motion. Well, we've got Councillor Barrows that wants to speak again. Go ahead, Councillor Barrows.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor DePaula. I have a question when it comes to the alternate. I'm a sworn-in member of the Regional Council of York, and is the intent of the mayor to have Godwin Chan as my alternate as I deal with those issues at the region of York?
No,
Mr. Clerk,
no, Mr. Clerk. Yeah, no, that's separate.
can you explain definition of alternates being used?
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. There are two types of alternate at regional council under the municipal act. There is what we call the section 268 alternate, such as yourself, Councilor Barrows, where you are able to, under that section, attend a regional council meeting if one of Richmond Hill's regional councilors are not able to attend that meeting. That appointment continues. Under section 267, there's a provision that says that where a member of regional council is going to be away from regional council for greater than 1 month, or if that seat is vacant for greater than 1 month, Richmond Hill Council can appoint someone to fully fill in for that regional councillor until they resume their duties. I have consulted with the regional clerk on this, and the proper course of action when Mayor Barrow is going to be away from regional council for an extended period of time is to appoint another alternate regional who can actually, the scope of the appointment is larger than the regional appointment under section 268. So your appointment as an alternate regional does continue to fill in at regional council meetings in the event that one of the city's regional councilors are not able to attend.
Thank you for that clarification. I would ask that G be voted on separately, please.
Okay, we can do that, Mr. Clerk. We can separate that.
We can.
Call it.
Any other discussion or questions? Okay, I'm going to call the vote on all the items except for G. Okay, so moved by Mayor Barrow, seconded by Councillor West. The motion that you see on the screen, all in favor? Okay, that carries. And on item G,
A recorded vote, please.
okay. We have the motion, the section of the motion that deals just with the mayor's desired designate for the region. I'll call the vote on that.
Can we,
It's going to be recorded.
can we talk about G at all, or are we just going to vote on it?
Well, we have had an opportunity for everyone to speak to the entire motion. The fact that it's voted on separately doesn't change. The debate is now closed and we're calling the vote, and I'm going to hand it over to the clerk for a recorded roll call.
Thank you. If I might, through the chair, Councillor West, you were only asking for a recorded vote on clause C. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry for that. You're right.
I just wanted to make sure. Thank you very much. So voting on, clause G, I mean, voting on clause G of the motion, the appointment of an alternate regional councillor, Councillor West,
Yes.
Councillor Barrows,
No.
regional local councillor Pirelli,
No.
Mayor Barrow,
Yes.
Councillor Chan,
Yes.
Councillor Liu,
Yes.
Councillor Silovitz,
Yes.
Councillor Munch. Can you, I do need you to speak that, Councillor Munch, since it's a recorded vote. I'm seeing the councillor hold up a no sign, and I will record it as a no. And regional local councillor DePaula. And I have a yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Clause G carries and the entire motion is carried.
Okay. Could I, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I just want to say at this time, I want to thank all of you for adopting this motion. And I do want to say that I'm not able to attend the rest of today's council meeting for the very purpose we've been hearing about. And we'll ask Deputy Mayor DiPaolo to continue to chair the rest of this meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mayor Barrow.
Okay, I'm out.
Okay, we will resume the meeting. Our next issue is public hearings. We have none. And then presentations, there are none. We have no delegations. So we'll move to the consideration of the pulled agenda items. I believe we just have item 13.6 pulled by Councillor Munch.
Good day, thank you. In regards to this section for requests for expanded permissions of additional rental units that were brought forward for us to December the 2nd, I really hope that members of council really took a big notice on this because as was written in the December 2nd motion, December 2nd staff report, and alluded to here, the ramifications of this for our communities that are in quotes required. So I guess I have lots of questions on this to see if this was discussed with all departments. For example, OPA 23 would authorize up to 3 dwelling units on a lot where ground dwellings would be accommodated. There's lots going on in lots of exemptions, which are great to discuss. And I think members of council really need to look at this because the ramifications of this for our municipality long-term with regards to planning matters, and I've mentioned this numerous times about how traffic and concerns of our community and the flow and safety and walkability of our community are a very important part of what many people, and certainly the people I represent in Ward 2, are really worried about. I've had lots of efforts with the KDA at the Young Bernard, for example. And this means that anybody that has a garage can have a house. Anybody that has a carport can have a house, as long as it's not directly attached, and that's easy to replace. We have 2 units in every household. So as it's also reported in our socioeconomic report, what's been brought forward by Mr. Dixon, and as what's been brought forward here, people in Richmond Hill don't work here, they work elsewhere, which means that we're going to have more people commuting. And if we're not promoting transit corridors, which I've been a big fan of, and I would hope that other members of council and our now alternate there would take this very seriously because I haven't seen it yet at all. I'm going to say to you, are we ready to have density throughout the neighborhoods in our areas? And are we going to bring more traffic? That's what this report is bringing forward. And I wonder if this report, if we're going to meet our 40,000 person number or a 20% growth, by the way, the region is growing at 50%, we're growing at 20%. We are drastically below our growth numbers. But having said that, if we meet our growth numbers, that means 40,000 people are coming here in the next 10 years. And as we have not approved the number of units of housing to accommodate that, what we're saying is that we're encouraging people to have basement apartments and third units throughout our neighborhoods. And that's what this means. And are we ready to have those traffic in communities? And I want the residents to know that I've been steadfast where I want to protect communities. And I think that we need to design, as per the Watson report that was brought up in May 2017, that this was unanimous by council, but we have not met our requirements. We're roughly about 40% of our budget, which means this report in front of us is going to bring more people into our communities, maybe more Airbnbs, maybe more rooming houses. I'm not in favor of that. And I think this council should talk about it. So I raise this either if members of council haven't fully read this report or want to digest it further or want to have a dialogue. I'd like to hear members of council, maybe consideration of deferring this till next council meeting so that we can wholly have a discussion, because our communities of having more people within it in existing neighborhoods and more people in there is going to have a drastic change, in my opinion, going forward. And if that's what this council wants to go forwards with, and that's the direction we're going into, I moved a permeable paver. If there's 3 households where there's an existing 1 household now, there might be a need for more cars, which means wider driveways, which means more impact on our, and that's in the report, by the way, if you look at the number of households they have there, our number of people per household is declining. Sorry?
1 minute.
Thank you. Our number of household per units is declining as per the report. But if you increase the number of households, that means that the density in our neighborhoods and those cars and that traffic and that impact on our infrastructure and the impact on our parks and our impact on all those social services, garbage included, all of this is going to be impacted. So I hope members of council look at this as how we're going forward. And this is a very important thing because tomorrow at the region, there's a motion on talking about a housing crisis, and the Bank of Canada chimed in this morning as well. So I say to you, I'm looking forward to a wholesome discussion. I hope you guys engage in it. Hope people have read it in depth. And then I look forward to, I'll reserve the right for a second round. Thank you.
Okay, I still don't have a mover or seconder for the motion here. Thank you, Councillor Munch. Councillor Sullivan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with Councillor Munch. This matter concerns me greatly. I have a question that I'd like to pose, please, to Director Lee, through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Lee, Director Lee. I'm just waiting to see him on screen.
Okay, we can. Okay.
There he is. Thank you. Director Lee, given all of the concerns, and I share the ones with Councillor Munch, parking, width of driveways, garbage, front yard landscaping, excess traffic, infill, all of that. It's just it's an entire slew. My question to you is this, through you, Mr. Chair. The province has approved secondary suites. So are we simply doing housekeeping here with this particular resolution? Because without any question, secondary suites are going to be included in our new official plan as something specific. If we as a council, as a majority of council, sorry, second part to the question, if we as a majority of council don't approve or accept these recommendations, what does that actually mean for the city of Richmond Hill? Because the province has approved this. What exactly is our voice here? Mr. Lee.
Very good question. Mr. Lee.
Through the chair to Councillor Sullivan, what the province, through legislation in the Planning Act, has done is said that all zoning bylaws in municipalities in Ontario are to permit second suites, accessory dwelling units, whatever you want to call them, additional dwelling units. And a lot of the newer zoning bylaws that we've done in the past 4 or 5 years have done that, because this legislation isn't that new. It's like 5, 6 years old. We're a little bit laggards, I suppose. We finally gotten around to doing this. There's a lot of benefits to it in terms of providing more opportunities for housing, particularly for younger people who want to stay in Richmond Hill but can't afford a home, et cetera, et cetera. I won't go on about that, but from a legislative perspective, this is something that we are supposed to do, we have to do, and in fact, we do have, over the last 5 years, I believe, 2 separate letters from the Minister of Municipal Affairs saying, and these are form letters that have gone out to most municipalities, how come you guys haven't adopted an additional dwelling units or secondary suites bylaw? And we get the letter and we look at it and go, yeah, we got to get to that. We got to get to that. Yes, Mr. Minister, we know we got to do that. We finally sort of gotten to doing that. There's a lot of concerns about parking and landscaping and stuff. Staff have carefully considered all of that, and we think that the details that are in the zoning amendment that accompanies the report deals with those issues. The one thing to remember is that by and large, all accessory dwelling units are going to require a building permit. Plans will have to be submitted, and just like every other development, you've got to meet all of the requirements, whether it's driveway width, whether it's parking, whether it's proper ingress and egress, whether it's fire safety regulations. They all have to be met. So there are a lot of checks and balances built into this.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. However, if I may continue the conversation through you, Mr. Chair, there's the Committee of Adjustment, and the envelope keeps on getting pushed further and further. So we're talking about lot coverage. We're talking about so many things that are germane here. So without any question, the envelope will be pushed if somebody wants to increase the size of their garage, or whatever it is that they want to do. If they're making a secondary suite out of their basement, do they want to increase the size? So there's so many ifs and or buts here. But again, through you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Lee. So in other words, we can have this discussion. We can put in our zoning. We can approve the recommendations, but it's actually a moot point, because the province, according to the province, we can have these units, and we can't object to them because the province says we can. And is that correct?
Through the chair to Councillor Silovitz, yes, that's by and large correct. We need to do this. There's a question of how we do it, and the how is in the details of the zoning bylaw. And I think that we've got a number of regulations in the zoning bylaw that take care of the numerous questions. And, you know, we have the ability to review drawings and plans and make sure that the character of the neighborhood stays the same, the look of houses and coach houses and whatnot that might contain these units fit in with the neighborhood, etc.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. So just to continue what I'm saying, thank you very much, Director Lee. I appreciate that. That's what I thought. That's what I believed. My concerns are great here, and I don't quite know where this is going to lead us. We have so many problems that follow infill development with regards to zoning and the pushing of that envelope, height, side yards, backyards, front yards, driveways, the push, not the push, but we have people who are more now who would prefer to have a larger house on a lot than a smaller house with a greater yard size. So you see that in infill development throughout the city, and I certainly know we have that. I mean, in Ward 5, it's pervasive. So my concerns here are that the pushing of this envelope, despite us having a special zoning bylaw here for secondary suites, it's still going to be contested, and it's going to still be pushed further and further and further. So that's just my comment. I would support a deferral to have further discussion here. I don't think we're under the gun to approve this immediately, but I really think that I believe we need further public discussion on this. It opens up a whole can of worms, and there's going to be a lot of problems with it. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Liu.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I too in agreement with the previous two speakers. Thank you, Councillor Munch, for bringing this forward. I too have more questions than answers on this one. And I'm quite surprised that we only received 3 correspondence. on this agenda item, because I remember I did some research lately when I look at Markham and Vaughan. In Markham, there's like hundreds of people came out to speak, and they passed, by one vote. And they kind of have a phase-in strategy. As much as I understand that this is mandate by the province, and then we have to do it, is about affordability. However, I think this is a band-aid solution. It's not a long-term solution, and it's going to bring long-term effect to our neighborhood. It's not going to solve any problem. It's going to bring us lots of problem. So if we have to do it, we got to do it carefully. I thank staff. They try their best to. I can see in the report that try to do the check and balance, but I still not very convinced without the lack of details in it, because parking is one thing. I think the long-term effect in certain neighborhood is another. And also, I think the enforcement is also going to be a problem. So I don't see any enforcement strategy here. And what are we going to do with the existing illegal basement apartments? And is there going to be a financial implication? Is there going to be a financial gain for the city through registration fees? What are the fines if we we caught them doing it illegally? So I understand this is a framework, but I would like to see more details before I vote on this one. Basically, the previous two speakers already addressed lots of my concerns. I'm not going to repeat it. Also, my nightmare is I don't want to see apartment for sale or apartment for rent signs all over the neighborhood in the future. So if we're going to do it, we're going to do it carefully. And I would like more time and engage more residents, gather their input in this before we make a final decision. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, Acting Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councillor West.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I was and still am quite concerned about this change. It's a pretty big change for the municipality. I'm very committed in everything I do on this council to protect existing communities. But I have also, because of the importance of this, I've spent a lot of time talking to staff, reading the staff report several times, going through the process, the public process that we had, and speaking to people between the time we started this public discussion to now. I want to emphasize that it is absolutely my understanding, and this was confirmed by Patrick Lee, that we don't really have a choice here. It's not a case of if we want to do it, it's when. And this has been going on for quite some time. And frankly, it's caused a lot of uncertainty with people having, is it legal, is it not legal, and so on. And people are doing it as of now. Some are legal, some are not, some are whatever. So I think the purpose of this staff report is to fulfill our provincial obligations. I think it does. If you read the staff report carefully, and I'm hearing some of the comments and questions, and I'm wondering if the staff report has been really looked at carefully, because there are a lot of issues that have been answered in this staff report. I mean, we can agree or disagree with the answer, but the answers are in the staff report. I think that one of the positive things about this is it probably will shine the light on units that aren't actually as legal as they should be, because the definitions and rules of engagement, if this passes, are going to be a lot more clear. Now, could they be clearer? Well, I'm listening to some of my colleagues, and maybe they could. I don't know. I think Councillor Liu brought up a good point that I share as well about enforcement. I think the one thing about this that I didn't see, but I have confidence that we could address this, is that we really do need to step up our enforcement. I understand that staff is planning on doing a significant public education campaign. So hopefully if we educate people as to how things need to be done, we won't need as much enforcement, and that's good. I think the one thing, though, that I'm getting from speaking to the public and from speaking to staff and from speaking to various stakeholders is that I don't believe that this will open the floodgates. It is designed to protect the existing communities. There are enough regulations here. There are enough market-driven regulations here because the cost of doing this is not going to be insignificant, particularly in building a secondary suite in a detached dwelling unit where, but the restrictions on how many units can actually satisfy all of those demands, I don't believe will open the floodgates in our community. So I'm relatively satisfied with that. And, I'm listening to my colleagues and I'm open-minded. I'm ready to hear other perspectives. But I also think that we could have the opportunity to readjust this because the comprehensive zoning bylaw process is ongoing and it will come to a fruition at some point in the not very distant future. If the secondary suite thing gets passed, we'll have the opportunity to go back and make adjustments as necessary. So I think one other specific point I wanted to make. The parking requirement to me is very important, that we do not expand the allowances for parking. And that is one of the things that's causing the floodgates not to open, because there will be a number of different properties that will not be able to comply with the parking standard. But I think it's very important that we keep the look and feel of our neighborhoods, like I hear constantly from residents, and I totally respect that. They don't want our areas to look like a used car parking lot where you have cars all over the front yard. So I believe that staff has done a very good job in putting the restrictions in place to keep us fulfilling our obligations to the province while protecting our communities, and also giving both homeowners and the people who are needing to rent apartments like this the opportunity to do so. We have an affordability issue. This can help. It's not the solution, nor would I ever want it to be the solution, because it needs to be spread out properly. But I think that overall this could be helpful. Now, we don't have a deferral motion at the moment. If council members want to have another couple of weeks to talk to their residents, I'd always be okay with that. But from what I've heard up to this point, I'm fairly confident that this is at least a very good start, if not a good solution, until we, finalize our comprehensive.
Okay, time's up, Councillor West.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
I do have three other speakers, but I also agree that this was the wrong approach for the province. They forced it on us. I know that we have to get a bylaw in effect, and our staff is doing a good job just to salvage what little bit of control remains when the province has made this decision. So I'm going to continue with the three speakers. I don't have a motion on the floor, and I've heard 3 or 4 councillors indicate a desire to defer. I got you there on a second round, Councillor Munch. But on the first round, the next speaker is Councillor Chan. Councillor Chan.
Thank you. Yes, I thank Councillor Munch for bringing that up. It's certainly over the years, I have also dealt with the secondary issue, suite issue over the years, and actually have worked with and helped with residents either to get this going through with this secondary suite that was actually been there long before that the previous prohibition. So I concur with all the things said, particularly by the mover, is that one unit or one residential premise that now potentially have 3, expand 3 times, right? And according to report, each of those particular accommodation unit, so to speak, could have 1 parking space. So 3 parking spaces. I don't need to reiterate, but I concur with that. And you basically have 1 issue, 1 problem, and then amplify 3 times. So, and I appreciate that being brought up by bylaws, certainly implications on front yard parking while under review, I understand. But it create all kinds of, I may say the term confusion among residents. So the part that is good about the deferral is also to look at from a communication standpoint, if it's done, has to be done properly. And as Councillor Neil, I'm also aware of other municipalities doing that stage event, but also the communication and educational component that our residents, not just in Ward 6, but all over the city, need to recognize and realize that, what are the kind of changes and the impact. Councillor Munch mentioned about perhaps more Airbnb. I mean, I have spent quite a bit of time working with residents on looking at Airbnb issues in different communities or neighborhoods in Ward 6. So I'm quite acutely aware of the potential challenges there. But I do have questions. So I support that motion. So we have more time, not only for us to really further analysis and plan it to do it the right way, even though it's a provincial mandate under the former Bill 108 and then have a regulation in 2019, you have to do it. But how to do it is still our job, I think, unless the staff say. But that relates to my question for Mr. Chair. In the report, I do understand there was a public open house done November last year. I honestly was a bit surprised. There's only about 122 people actually responded to the survey, not necessarily the people attended the November event. So through you, Mr. Chair, could the staff expand a bit more on, it's basically just very brief description on page 12 and page 13. What are the major objections?
Sorry,
from
Councillor
the
Chan. Councillor Chan, I have a point of order.
Oh, sorry.
Deputy Mayor DePaula, do we have a motion on the floor that we're speaking to? It appears that you're just allowing everyone to speak at nothing, and we're going to have like 2 or 3 rounds of speaking before we ever even get to a motion.
Okay.
And when we have a motion on the floor, you're going to allow
you.
first and second time speaking again.
Thank you for that. I'll clarify. I'm allowing everyone their opportunity to speak to the staff report. We have an item on the agenda here. Because we've got five have already spoken, there's going to be Councillor Chan and then Deputy Mayor and yourself an opportunity, and we'll decide what to do. Go ahead, Councillor Chan.
What are we speaking?
Thank you. Because it is relating the report that we're asking to be deferred. So my question is to staff for you, Mr. Chair, is that the 4 bullets on page 12 and 13 doesn't give me the whole picture about the kind of major responses or to the 15 questions. Could the staff help elaborate what are the concerns that might not be contained in the report or listed in the report, I should say? Maybe Mr. Lee might have some response.
Yeah. Mr. Lee, Director of Policy, are you there?
I'm here. Sorry, just getting my video back on. So I just have the report open here. Councillor Chan, were you referring to something on page 15? Pardon me.
Page 12 and page 12 to 13, talking about the survey that the results from 122 residents. I mean, Richmond about well over 200,000 people and 122 responses. And are those 4 bullets capture the main kind of responses to that?
Okay, so through the chair to Councillor Chan. The 4 bullet points really are a good synopsis of what we got back from the survey. And by and large, there was very limited concern about the impacts of accessory dwellings. We had very little written response. We have 3 pieces of correspondence before council today, and they talk about the sort of typical things, parking, the look and feel of houses in the neighborhood, any widening of driveways that might reduce front yard landscaping, et cetera, et cetera. But by and large, from the survey, people were generally supportive of what was being proposed here. And, once again, I think that the zoning regulations that are being put in place, take care of the concerns. I mean, one additional thing I'll point out is that the province only allows a municipality to essentially add one additional parking space on top of what is already required. And it does permit parking spaces to be in tandem, like, one in front of the other. So if you took the typical 2 or often 4-car driveway that you'll find in an average, 2-story dwelling, all it really takes is assigning one of those, say, 4 parking spots in the driveway to be the additional spot for the accessory dwelling. So nothing really has to change. We really feel that the impacts on the neighborhood from a physical, perspective will be really minimal. Like, you won't necessarily see a difference.
Okay, thank you. I'm not going to draw on that, but I took exception. The statement is impact minimal. I will take it offline, Mr. Chair, in respect of I'm talking about the deferred motion, but I certainly had earful of particular comments on parking from neighborhood people that were the rentals. So we'll touch base. But going back, I support the motion, the deferred motion in front of us, and I echo the concern as expressed by my colleague. Thank you.
Okay.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Speaker's finished. Yes, Councilor Barrows.
The previous speaker kept speaking about a motion. When I asked the point of motion, I asked, what is the motion that we are talking about? And you couldn't identify one, but the previous speaker believes that there was a motion that he was speaking to. Can you please clarify, is there a motion on the floor?
Okay, that's not a point of order. You're commenting on the previous speaker. You can do so when it's your turn. Deputy Mayor Pirelli. I've got 2 more speakers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move the staff recommendations.
Thank you. Very good. Is there a seconder? Councilor Barrows, you wish to speak as well? You're next on the list. Or sorry, as mover, you go ahead. The floor is yours, Deputy Mayor Pirelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I've been listening to the narrative that's been spoken. Just to refresh everyone's mind, this agenda item and this legislative direction was given to us back in the 2010 to 2014 term of office. It was actually mandated upon us and our staff, and Director Lee will confirm this, that we were supposed to have our zoning bylaw in place. And now my memory fails me to the exact date, but Director Lee, was it not March of 2015? Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Through the chair to Deputy Mayor Pirelli, I don't have that exact date in front of me, but that's approximately correct.
Right. So, we've had approximately just under 6 years, or actually more than 6 years, to come up with this zoning bylaw. And the province hasn't, given us any punishment for not meeting their deadline of 2015. I take great comfort in knowing that this draft zoning bylaw, when it's properly implemented, as Councillor West has stated, that if you read the report, we all know that when someone comes with an application to do this legally, they will be met with many, many, many restrictions. They're going to have to meet so many tests that I think when it comes down to it, we're not going to see a lot of these secondary suites. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I do know one thing, that our staff will not allow this to become a big mess. We're not going to ruin the integrity of our communities. We're not going to sacrifice safety as it pertains to parking spots, as it pertains to life-saving issues such as egress and ingress. The fire code has to be respected. The building code has to be respected. The electrical code has to be, and I see Director Lee nodding his head. There are so many levels and tests that will have to be met in order for them to get a legal secondary suite that I don't see a lot of them happening. And we're not going to bend the rules to have parking lot looking front lawns. This is not the community that we live in. This is not a solution. It's part, a very, 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 very small part of the greater solution to bring in affordable housing, as Councillor West has stated before. So I can assure the people listening today that staff have this very well under control, very well under control. And what really brings me great pleasure is this, that up until now, for the last 6 years, we've been in kind of a gray zone, in limbo. We're not really enforcing the rules because we don't have the rules. And so there's a lot of people's lives that are at risk, and Councillor Munch can testify to this. Him and I have been to secondary units that don't seem to meet the building code, they don't seem to meet the fire code, and people's lives are at risk. We need to have this zoning bylaw implemented. It may not be perfect, but we need something so that we can start to enforce the rules so that the integrity of the process is protected and that people are safe as best as we can make it. And we need to do something, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why I'm moving the staff recommendation. Let's get it over. We can have further discussion when we can get into the weeds on the actual zoning bylaw. But for now, we need something. We cannot leave it in limbo as we've done. Those are my comments, Mr. Chairman. I reserve the right to a second round of speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Barrows?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've heard a lot of sucking and blowing here. We've had people say we need affordable housing, but then when options come, oh, well, not that kind of affordable housing we want. I wholeheartedly support this report. It is very clear in its intent. It's very clear in a lot of its definitions. It's very clear that a garage needs to be backing onto a laneway to be considered a use for an actual building to be housing people. It's very clear the region of York doesn't see this as impacting any of their policies or any of their decision making because it's so small in nature. The school boards have indicated it doesn't change their boundaries or affect their way of doing business at all. This is just providing options for people in our great city. So I support it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So I have a motion moved and seconded on a second round. Councillor Munch.
Good day. Speaking to the acceptance of the report, I would like to say I would like to move a deferral motion, not a referral, but a deferral. So I will not be supporting this. The reason for that is further to the comment, Bill 108.
Sorry, Councillor Munch, you're moving a deferral motion?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us what time and when.
I'd like to defer till next council meeting.
We're not going to debate it.
No, I'd like to have a deferral to allow every member of council to thoroughly, because the reason being, ladies and gentlemen, is on December the 2nd report by staff, which this report refers to, says that on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, staff are getting requests for secondary suites. When we have 122 people in this that are engaged, a deferral will allow people to, again, have an opportunity to come forward. We have the staff report's fine. We understand this is mandated in.
Okay, Councillor Munch, so as to the date.
So 1 month, next council meeting, March 24th, sorry, we have a March 10th and a March 24th, I believe is the date. So 1 month, 2 council meetings from now, so that we can have an opportunity for council members to try to engage people in the community so we can get more than 122 reactions, also get people to come forward.
What council meeting date?
The,
Okay, is there a seconder for this deferral motion? Councillor West. Okay, I'll accept comments towards about the date and time that this is going to be deferred to. And Mr. Clerk, the next council meeting?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I believe Councillor Munch indicated the 1 month, which would be the March 24th council meeting. And if I could just procedurally confirm with the councillor that he's also moving deferral of the 2 related bylaws from this agenda, correct?
That is correct, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Pirelli. We have a deferral motion moved and seconded.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In speaking to the deferral motion, I've been hearing that everybody wants to have an affordability solution, and this is now delaying that affordability solution. So I would prefer to have it dealt with today. And for that reason, I will not support the deferral motion. Everybody's speaking about a housing affordability crisis. Even Councillor Munch spoke about it being discussed at the regional level, but he wants to defer the decision for a solution to the housing affordability crisis. And I think that's a little bit contradictory. So I won't support the deferral motion. I think staff have done a lot of great work here. And I think it's time that we start to implement the rules. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. The seconder, Councillor West, you wanted to speak.
Thank you. I actually, as I mentioned in my comments, I actually think this is a very good staff report and I think it's doable. But I'm hearing from my council colleagues that there's a real desire to learn more about this and to delve into this deeper. So I'm happy to support the deferral. I will say that it would be, I'm not even sure what would happen if something similar to this at some point in the very near future didn't pass. We're definitely offside. But what I would ask and what I'm hearing I would say in response to what I'm hearing from my colleagues about some of the confusion that's going on here is I would ask that if staff could, either I formally ask or informally ask staff to make a presentation before we deal with the item on the 24th of March to, like, we could do, if they could do a PowerPoint presentation and go through the staff report and outline everything that's in the staff report so that council members have the clarity. This will, one of the nice byproducts of moving this to March is it will give our public more time to engage. I mean, I think we've given them time to engage, but that's fine. I mean, having a conversation and moving this for a month is fine. The only other thing I would say is I have to agree that I am a little bit surprised at some of the comments that we're hearing because—
Councillor West, it's a deferral motion. We're going to defer.
Okay, well, fine. I'll leave it at that then. If I could ask staff to make a presentation, I think it would—
We'll ask staff to present more thoroughly next time. Councillor Barrows.
Speaking to the advisability of a deferral motion, members have had 6 years to educate themselves on secondary suites. This is not the first time that we've ever heard of this topic. We've had the staff report now for a number of days, able to read it over and be able to ask staff for clarification. I've heard from some members that, yep, we have to do this. I would urge people, do not put this off any longer. If you need more details, vote for this and then seek staff's information to get more details on it. Otherwise, I'm hearing that some people just may not even want this at all. And this is just another tactic to make the poor people of the city of Richmond Hill wait. It sends a bad message. I'm going to vote no on the deferral.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else speaking to the deferral? So I'm going to call the vote. All in favor of deferring this item?
Record the vote, please.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, the recorded vote's been requested.
I'm sorry, I did not hear who requested the, I heard 2 requests for the recorded vote at the same time. I just need to clarify.
Councillor Silovitz.
Thank you.
I requested it. Thank you.
Thank you. Voting on the motion to defer this and the associated bylaws to the council meeting on March 24th, 2021, Councillor Solovitz,
Yes.
Councillor Chan.
Yes.
Thank you. Regional Local Councillor DePaula.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Barrows.
No.
Thank you. Councillor West.
Yes.
Thank you. Regional Local Councillor Pirelli.
No.
Thank you. Councillor Munch.
Yes, please.
Thank you. And Councillor Liu.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion to defer this and the associated bylaws carries only.
Okay. So that was the only item that was removed from our consolidated agenda. We're going to have that deferred to our next council meeting on the 24th. We have 3 bylaws, but 2 of them have been deferred now.
That is correct, Mr. Chair. The only bylaw that needs to be passed is agenda item 16.3, bylaw 2721.
Okay, can I have a mover for that? Councillor West, seconded by Councillor Barrows. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that carries. Are there any members of council have other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, that's in order. I'll accept the motion to adjourn from Councillor Barrows.
Sorry, we actually need to pass the bylaw to confirm the proceedings first.
We have a confirmatory bylaw, Councillor Barrows.
You can do that as a consolidated agenda with the,
Okay, seconded by Councillor Chan. All in favor? Any opposed? That carries. And a motion to adjourn from Councillor Barrows, seconded by Councillor Munch. All in favor? Any opposed?